chat. And we're moving to Israel for this. And I'm delighted that Nir Shimoni, the CEO of Tech for Good, has a very special guest on the line.
Good morning, Yoel, from Tel Aviv to all of you.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure having this fireside chat with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to begin by, you're a pretty well-known figure in the Israeli impact investment space, but to our audience from the Gulf region, I just want to give some overview, some background of yours that will probably be useful to our audience who are not from Israel today. And these are probably things that you would not mention about yourself. So first of all, Yoel is the founder and chairman of the 2B Group. He's one of the pioneers, I think, of the impact investment space in Israel. You are probably one of the biggest impact investors in Israel, private impact investors in Israel. And Yoel does tons of stuff other than investing. He owns this beautiful 2B hub that you see in the background, probably the Israel's leading co-working space for impact entrepreneurs. And we're proud to be, Tech for Good is very proud to be working from the 2B hub in the past 4 years. I must start with a personal story that I don't know, Yoel, if you recall, but I think it was 5 or 6 years ago when Tech for Good was in its infancy. It was just a vague idea, and people told me, you must get together with Yoel Cheshin. He's very passionate about impact. He's a very active investor. We had this first meeting between the two of us, and I must tell
at the space shuttle.
I think at the space shuttle before the 2B hub even existed. Yeah. But back then, at the end of the meeting, you did something that was so touching and so personal, and I think so unexpected from an investor. And you simply duplicated the key to the offices and told me, you need a place to stay. You need a place to work from.
Oh, really?
Just handed me the key. Yeah, you just handed me the key and said, hey.
Wow, I didn't know.
Please consider this your home, and the rest is history. And we've been working
wow,
together.
I didn't know that.
In the past. Yeah, sure. So this is just some background. Let's start talking about your activity. And I must start with a pretty personal question, which is, how do you become an impact investor? Meaning, do you just wake up one day with this bold decision, from now on, I'm making impact investment? Is it a long personal process that you go through, a journey? How do you become an impact investor?
Well, it's an interesting question. I think there could be many explanations to that. And I think two stories are relevant here. One is the story of my great-grandfather, who was the founder of Teva, who became, years after, the biggest Israeli company in the world and the biggest generic pharmaceutical company in the world. And he was the founder of Teva. My great-grandfather, it was like more than 100 years ago, naturally. And he wanted to found Teva because it was before the independence of Israel and there was lack of medicine in Israel. So what he started was to import medicine from Germany to Israel. And after the war with Germany started, he started manufacturing medicine in Israel in order to supply a medicine for the benefit of the citizens of the society in Israel. And he had the sense of business on one hand and impact on the other hand from within. You know, it was ingrained within him. This is the way I was brought up to understand what business is. And I think the second story goes to my brother Shneor, who died more than 10 years ago. And the brother whom I really loved. He was my older brother. And I wanted to do business with him all the time, but I wasn't intellectual. I was teaching and studying philosophy law in the university. And this is the path I chose for myself. And he died in a car accident. And after his death, for some reason, energetically or whatever, I became a businessman, where to be stands for two brothers. So it's like a way to remember my brother every day I wake up. And once you lose someone whom you really love, you understand very deeply that it can be over for you any second. So you would better find a job that would give you a meaning, a reason to wake up in the morning. And I think what I do gives me a reason to wake up in the morning.
See, well, it's very fascinating to learn that it's a very personal thing. And I think that we at Tech for Good see a lot of either entrepreneurs or investors who are, of course, into impact and impact investing for the money and for the returns, but are also, there is this inner motivation or inner drives that comes from home, from your personal values and from your personal stories. And we see this a lot. But my next question is, you're first of all, impact investors are first of all investors, just like any other investors. You're looking to beat market rate returns. You're looking for, and when we're talking about technology, you're looking for a great team with amazing technology that is disruptive, that is addressing, a blue ocean with an amazing solution that is scalable. But what is as an investor, what else are you looking for in a startup? What makes an impact investor different from an investor that only invests for returns?
Well, it's a good question. I think that in a way, I feel very much uncomfortable with the concept of impact investing. Because, as I said before, the way I see the world is that each and every company should have some intrinsic value, should bring some kind of value to the world. Then I think that we should not distinct impact investments and non-impact investments. And as for your question, what I'm looking for today is not someone who necessarily comes to me and tells me and approaches and says how much he wants to change the world and how much he wants to build a company that does good to the world. Rather, I'm looking for someone who is looking at things very holistically, and someone who brings both together, ingrained within his character, both the talent of being a businessman and the understanding that a businessman should bring value to the world. And it's not distinct, they're all together, built in together. So I think as an impact investor and as entrepreneurs who believe their impact, let's all remember that we're all together in the one same mission. And the same mission is to lead a change in which we understand that the purpose of businesses is not to generate profits, but to lead purpose-led businesses that have their purpose and pursue their purpose, and a byproduct would be that they maximize or they make profits to the shareholders. But if we build a world that is full of ingrained with corporates that are purpose-led, this could be a good start for a better world.
It's almost a philosophical thing, not necessarily an economic thing. And I think the world is going through this huge change of understanding the meaning and the purpose. Purpose is a very important word that you're mentioning. And I think that purpose is something that organizations, corporates, investors, and human beings are looking for these days. And I totally agree with you. Now,
but you said it also what is it? It's psychology, psychological, philosophical. It's also scientific. because I'm absolutely sure that I could prove to you scientifically in a lab that if we do business together in a conscious way, it would be the best way to generate profits. And it's scientific.
Actually, what's beautiful is nowadays when impact investing is maturing, and excuse me for using the phrase impact investing, but there is data that supports this. That's the businesses that are more conscious, that pursue a cause, are providing the investors with bigger returns than non-impact or non-cause related businesses. Now, to follow on to my next question, you do more than just investing. Can you? And one of your businesses that I really love and enjoy on a daily basis is this beautiful 2-hub space that we're sitting in. And can you tell us what was your vision behind it? How is it kind of linked to your personal philosophy?
Well, you know, this is a funny story. Actually, I haven't told that before. Actually, I took this place because I wanted to help Amit Levy, who was a friend of my brother, who had a store here, and he had to pay the rent that was very high back then. So I told him, okay, I'll take half of the space and I'll help you with the rent. And this is how it started. Afterwards, he moved to Petah Tikva, which is better for him, and I took all the floor. But this is actually how it started. So something that you're starting out of goodwill turns out to be something which is much and far greater than that. I love the hub. I love the community. It gives me, it brings me power. When I see you and Omri work and other people, this is another good reason to wake up in the morning in a time where all shared workplaces are collapsing. To see our shared workplace so flourishing with so many people, it just opens my heart. So it might be that, well, you know, we wanted to have to be hubs all around the world, right? But since the crisis and everything, we had to be modest. But when you look around, and it's just unbelievable. But maybe we should open a to be hub in Dubai or in Abu Dhabi.
Actually, I think is a great idea. But even more than that, we're hosting a lot of entrepreneurs here from all over the world who are spending time here, not just in the physical space, but are absorbing the DNA of the Israeli startup ecosystem.
But you know, I must tell you something, because Einat from the Business Roundtable, by the way, another thing that occurred in the past few months, I became the chairman of the Business Roundtable Israel. And Einat, which is the CEO, said that her office is somewhere else, but she wants to work here because there's the atmosphere of creativity. But when you are here, you create, you build things. So the atmosphere and
Absolutely, and I really think that, and this is kind of a call for action for our for the entrepreneurs here in the audience today. I think we would love to have entrepreneurs from the MENA region coming to Israel,
absolutely,
spending some time with here, using this creativity, absorbing the creativity that Israel.
Nir, you're trying to summarize. Can I add one more sentence? Is possible?
Of course.
Yeah, so I mentioned the Business Roundtable, it's important because as an impact investor, as someone who leads who's trying to lead with other great people like yourself, trying to lead the change in Israel and out, a part of it is trying to, as I said before, to relate impact not to impact businesses, but to regular businesses. And being the chairman of the Business Roundtable, which gathers around all the biggest companies in Israel all together in order to find synergies between companies for the benefit of the society of Israel in any aspect. And as I said, takes regular businesses. And I think what we should always understand is that we should bring the idea and concept of impact, not to more impact businesses, but to regular businesses, because we will change the world when we change the regular business. The business who is the norm business, not just the impact. Yeah.
And I think this is something that we see on a daily basis. I totally agree with you over the work that we do at Tech for Good, because we work with you can say what you can call traditional corporates, large-scale international corporates, who are now embracing the values that you're talking about. It's not just entrepreneurs, it's not just about NGOs, but we see a shift from global business leaders towards the impact space. Now, we also have a lot of investors in the crowd today, and I wondered if you have any tips or thoughts or lessons that you want to share with potential investors who are making their first steps into the impact space, not entrepreneurs, but investors.
I think, the first advice would be just invest in something that really resonates with your beliefs, with your emotions, with your love to things. Invest in something that you feel as if this investment is I just invested in an entrepreneur. It's just, I feel as if it's an extension of my own self, And in terms of impact and non-impact, as I said before, I'm looking for holistically baked entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs who combine both together, the understanding of what impact is, and on the other hand, the true purpose of businesses. So, of course, all those who want to change the world. And most importantly, I'm looking for impact entrepreneurs who understand business, because sometimes, unfortunately, we have many impact people in the impact ecosystem who need to understand business better. So if you're an impact guy, understand business.
By the way, you see any paths for collaboration with investors from the Gulf area?
Wow, this is a dream come true. What do you mean? I've been in Dubai and Abu Dhabi before we had peace between the countries, and I was overwhelmed in ways I cannot explain. I think first and foremost, to understand that we are much more similar to people from Abu Dhabi and Dubai than to people from Europe or the United States. We have the same culture. We understand each other in ways that others will not understand for ages. One. Two, I think the collaboration is just inspirational in terms of endless possibilities in the future of collaboration to change the globe, to build markets for Israel, for Dubai, for Abu Dhabi. It's just unbelievable what potential we can have between this collaboration.
And I also think that, we share the same problems. We're so close geographically and mentally and culturally that we share the same problems, and we can look at them as the same, as mutual opportunities. And we really believe that, collaboration between not just entrepreneurs, but also between investors can really bring prosperity to the area.
And also, as a state, as a country, we have a lot to learn from Dubai, for example, because we're in Israel trying to find ways. We're in Israel trying to find ways to take our technologies to strengthen Israel itself. When I was in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, I was quite shocked in how much the technology helps the society and elevates Dubai as itself. I was so overwhelmed and inspirational that I'm taking steps now in order to send a delegation of Israelis to understand how the people from Dubai, or how Dubai and Abu Dhabi helps their own states with their technology.
Well, unfortunately, we're running out of time. I think we could continue for a couple of hours. And
with you always.
Okay. And I really hope that you share my passion and belief that pretty soon we will travel to Dubai and Abu Dhabi, meet in person and not online. And we really, really are passionate to do business,
Absolutely.
to invest together. Yoel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I enjoyed. Thank you.
And thank you all.
Bye-bye.